Well, what was going to be a nice, relaxing, easy evening is now actual madness for the Colorado Avalanche. We don't have all the details, but you can come find them out as we find them out. As the Avalanche have traded Mikko Rantanen to the Carolina Hurricanes in a deal that seems like it has a million parts. I don't want to confirm anything for 100% sure yet, but the things we're more confident on so far is it sounds like Martin Necas is coming back to Colorado. Mikko is part of a 3-team deal where Chicago is retaining half of his salary and then sending him to Carolina. And Chicago is also sending Taylor Hall to Carolina. There are other parts. We're not 100% sure what they are. It sounded like it was going to be Kotkaniemi to the Avs. Now it sounds like it might be Jack Drury. Both of those things may be false. We genuinely don't know yet. So buckle up and let's figure this thing out and get live reactions as we figure out what is actually happening. Let's start here.
I'll tell you what, man. This is a hell of a way to inspire Nathan McKinnon to shoot again on the power play.
No kidding.
They say, you're not going to do it. We're going to take your Mikko away from you. That is a power move, my guy. That is a power move.
Who's going to shoot now, Nathan?
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be you, fella.
Another person reporting this, LeBrun, not just Samarando, saying it's Necas and Drury as part of the blockbuster deal. Let's start here. It's really hard for me to see a world where the Avs are better on paper, no matter what this deal ends up being, at least in the immediate.
Yeah. Look, Martin Necas is a really, really good player, and he's going to fit very nicely in how Colorado plays the game. He's not Mikko Rantanen. He's not. And unfortunately, the Avs lose basically the only guy in their forward core, I guess outside of Nathan McKinnon, of course, that you could reliably count on to put the puck in the net. Now, despite what his numbers were this year, we know that those numbers have been inflated by empty net goals. But it's still...
He's still the Avs goals leader by like 7.
Right. And he's also a guy that has scored a ton of goals for them over the last couple of years.
Yep.
And is one of the Avalanche, in Avalanche history, one of their best goal scorers. And one of their best draft picks that they've ever had.
Yep.
So that's tough to replace. I really like Martin Necas, and I think Necas has been buried a little bit in Carolina just because of how they play. But he's not Mikko Rantanen. He's just not. You're getting worse there. You get cheaper. You save a little bit of money. Necas signed at $6.5 million for this year and next, but that you have to sign him at the end of next season. So you
bought yourself 1 year. Yeah. He's a UFA at the end of next season. So
right. You kick that can down the road. It's a short road. It's 1 year, man.
You can
it's
see the road end signs at the end of the road still.
So the other question that I would have is exactly where he's going to play.
Necas, you mean?
Yes. I'm comfortable with where Jack Drury is going to play.
Yeah, okay.
But with Necas, he's been a right wing. Funny enough, he's played alongside Kotkaniemi this year.
Yeah.
But Necas has been a center in his career. He can play. He can be that guy. If he's your second line center behind
McKinnon.
Nathan McKinnon, you probably feel very differently about this deal. But if he's just coming in to be if he's just coming in to be the right wing replacement for Rantanen, you're a lot worse.
Yep, you just are objectively worse.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, especially if the deal does end up being, as far as cap is concerned, Drury and Netchus, you did save yourself a significant amount of cap to go out and do something else.
Yeah.
But obviously we don't even know what this trade is yet, let alone what they're going to do with that.
So. Yeah. I don't know what kind of follow-up there will be, but the one thing that you definitely are going to see is that they have their we've spent 2 years talking about it. They have their face-off guy.
Yep.
They have their fourth line center face-off guy. I'm not going to sit here and try and sell anybody on the idea that this rocks and that this is how we wanted the Avs to do that. You don't normally use Hall of Fame bound right wings to try and fill your fourth line centerman job, but well, I guess we're trying stuff this season.
And I mean, there's so many angles to this too, right? Like, how much did the Avs get a word from Mikko's agent that he's not taking less than 14 million? Could that have been an effect on this? What do the Avs know something we don't about the potential or not returns of players like Landeskog and Nichushkin? There are a million different things. Like, regardless of the trade itself, which is extremely complicated, the external factors potentially affecting it are extremely complicated. It does look like Chicago is getting a 3rd round pick from someone for the retention of Mikko. I don't know if that's Carolina's or the Avs.
It's Carolina's. They got their own pick back. So neat.
Yeah.
With oh god, if this is really the end of it, man, I hate it.
If the Avs traded Mikko Rantanen for Martin Netchus and Jack Drury and nothing else, that's really unless they have a follow-up trade in the chamber that is a banger, that's tough for me. That would be tough for me to swallow.
Yeah, if I saw this on Puckpedia's GM thing,
Winnipeg would decline for sure.
Yeah, where is Vader Batman? Because I'm just like they open up a little bit of cap space with it, but so what?
Yeah, you could have opened up the same amount of cap space by dumping Miles Wood's contract if you were that.
Yeah, it's just I know that he's an expiring deal, and I know that he's going to cost so much money in free agency, but this is Martin Netchus they're really banking on Martin Netchus being super good.
The truth.
Yeah. And I do think I do think that he's good. I think he's really good.
Me too. I don't think he's Mikko Rantanen. He hasn't even had a single point per game season yet in his career. He's having one right now, but
yeah, he's in the middle of one. So way to buy high on a guy.
and like he's 25. He's supposed to be in his prime. I get that. Maybe there's a world where you see an extension with this guy that is significantly cheaper than Mikko next year. I guess.
Let's just assume that Rantanen signs at 14 million just because that's the number that's been bandied about. But Netchus, I mean, what are you going to give Netchus? You going to give him 8 million?
I mean, it drastically depends on how he finishes this season and next, right?
Yeah, and handles the postseason and all that, blah blah blah. But because if you give him 8 million, then in theory, okay, great. Now what do you do? What do you do with the rest of that space?
It's not some extra cash to do what?
It's always so easy to sell like the possibilities when you're like, oh, cap space, oh, financial flexibility. Like it's so easy to sell that when you're in this moment right now that we're in, when the team that you cover gave up the best player in the deal and on the surface definitely just lost this thing. So financial flexibility because that $6 million difference sounds great. That means they can go get a $6 million player, or they can go and get three $2 million players.
Yeah.
Neat.
It's very tough to know. Eric, working the phones behind the scenes for us, is saying that this deal is not completely done yet. So we'll see.
Give me.
While you're looking stuff up, a super chat from the incredible Drew that says, I'm hoping Nikishin is involved to make myself feel a little better.
Yeah, top Carolina prospect that everybody loves.
I just don't know that prospect should be the Avs target in general right now.
It's tough. It's tough with the firsts. Or the firsts with the futures. Sorry, it's tough with futures because you and I were talking about this. Even if they get, they get a second round pick in 2025 and a fourth in 2026.
Yeah,
neat. So that's cool. If those
are assets to flip,
picks,
right? Yeah,
if
exactly.
they don't move that for something else, the second certainly. If they don't move that, then I'm gonna be mad.
Yep, same.
Yeah, mad. So, yeah,
you're in a weird spot because on one hand, this feels incomplete until we know the full extent of it, which we might not know for months, to be honest with you. And at the same time, on paper, there's just no universe where you're going to feel good about this deal today if you're the Colorado Avalanche, unless, given what we know. If Carolina did something absolutely irresponsible, maybe you could have come out of this feeling better, but I just don't see how you feel good about it today.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Jack Drury, Martin Necas, and a second and a fourth round pick just isn't going to be quite enough for me to be all, yeah, great job, guys.
Yeah, same.
They now have 2 second round picks in 2025 that they can play around with. They have the extra cap space again. If they end up, if they end up making that work, if they move those 2 seconds or one of those seconds, and they get a guy that with that extra cap space, great. I mean, we have to at least have this conversation, right? That does this say anything about Gabe Landeskog's availability?
Maybe. I mean,
because we've talked about, right, that they would need to find a place to save some money on their roster.
Sure. It didn't have to be Mikko Rantanen, though. This would be, if it is Gabe Landeskog related, and maybe it's like slightly Gabe Landeskog related or something, and there are other things there too. But if this was significantly Gabe Landeskog related, that is an unbelievable confidence bet in that guy is still going to be a good hockey player, let alone be healthy.
Yeah, exactly. I would also just say, dude, that this is
my dog's squeaky toy energy is exactly how I feel right now.
the biggest balls from Chris McFarland to do something like this, dude.
You're committed to going all in. We're gonna see if it works, but you're trying stuff. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Jesus, dude.
Yep.
The thing that helps here, Martin Necas is really good. Like, they're getting one really good NHL player.
You're getting
an elite one.
85% of Mikko Rantanen, hopefully, out of that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, like, we've talked about these things over the last couple of years. Never to the point where we were like, they should trade him. But the thing with Rantanen, the effort level was going down. I mean, we were watching him coast more and more and more. We were watching him coast.
Yep.
And we're talking about a player that's getting insanely expensive largely because he's playing alongside Nathan MacKinnon, on a regular basis. When he's not next to McKinnon, his numbers are not great. It's the same conversation as you have with Leon Draisaitl in Edmonton. Still a very good player, but an otherworldly top 10 scorer in the league? No.
Yeah.
And when you do talk about like look, we're going to talk about the goals and the points and all of that, but I am curious. Now he's about to go, and we're going to see exactly what Rantanen looks like. I mean, now he's going to go play next to what, Sebastian Aho? Like, it's not like that's a bad player either, but Rantanen no longer is going to have the shielding of two absolute superstars.
He's going to Carolina to be the guy in Carolina.
Yeah. Like, he's going to have to be alongside Sebastian Aho. They're going to have to be like absolutely incredible to get him there. And we'll see, because we've talked about who's their alpha male, and Mikko Rantanen has been a really, really, really special postseason player. In his career, so that's pretty big. But I do wonder, that was the element that's been getting stale in Colorado, this contract situation with Mikko Rantanen that was just continuing
Possibly.
on and on.
And like, this is speculation. I don't have these types of contacts, but it's not hard to, at least in your head, link two and two together. If Mikko's coasting around and that deal's not done, maybe you can add up some dissatisfaction there.
This is also, I mean, with Mikko, man, with Mikko, you really are talking about a tough guy to evaluate there, just because the numbers and the production, and we've seen on any given day, unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many games where we talk about it with Mikko Rantanen where it's just incredibly frustrating.
Sure.
Where he drives you insane.
Yep.
And
look, if you're looking, I guarantee you Martin Necas will be a better defensive player than Mikko Rantanen. I can promise you that. But like you said, this has always been the conversation with me. Yes, he drives you crazy, but you also live with that because he drives you crazy and then he puts up 2 points.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've been talking about like his defensive ability and all the like pockmarks of his game. But again, those are things that you live with. But I want to see what happens with Martin Necas in Colorado, because I do think that there's big breakout potential there.
He seems like a great fit style of player for sure.
Style of player it's like perfect, right?
Yep. Can fly up and down the ice.
Yeah, he's one of the fastest players in the league. So you are talking about, so you're putting one of the fastest players in the league next to Nathan McKinnon. Cool.
Seems good. Seems good.
Like, they're still going to be dangerous, but Necas is also a guy that goes through his dry spells.
Yep.
Now, are his dry spells going to be productive dry spells because he's now playing next to Nathan McKinnon the same way it was for Mikko? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I am curious if they are going to give him burn at center and just giving them like a Casey Middlestat fallback plan.
I don't see how they can to start, right? When Val Nichushkin gets healthy, you start to have that conversation. But right now, he has to play wing.
Yeah. I mean, tomorrow, he should probably play wing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. Unless there's a follow-up move of any kind, how do you just get worse?
Yeah. This move in a vacuum on the ice, you are a worse team today now than you were an hour ago. Again, there are almost certainly other factors involving this trade, whether it's Rantanen's contract, whether it's another move, whether it's the people getting healthy for the Avalanche, whatever the reason. There are other reasons that we don't have the specifics on for this deal. But as an organization, the Avs are trying to win a Stanley Cup right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's just where they are as an organization. And they're going to try to win next year too. That they're in their cup window to go out and try and win Stanley Cups. And without knowing what happens next, it does not look great that you're making your team worse in the moment.
Again, in the vacuum of this deal, this isn't really part of it, but whatever they do next has to be it has to be a part of it.
Yep.
It matters what they
I
do
agree.
next
I agree.
because you get a first line right wing in this, but then you also get your fourth line center, so you're done shopping for that at the deadline. If that means that they have determined that Parker Kelly is their third line center at the deadline, I dislike this.
Yep.
If they turn around and use the second round pick that they got in this deal and they put both of the 2025 second round picks and send them to Seattle for Yanni Gourde,
don't hate it.
We're working, right?
Yep.
Like there's like, okay, now you're making a little bit you're making a little bit of progress there. But some of this is going to be what happens next because
I agree.
I really feel like we're kind of just glossing over the fact that Martin Necas is really good and that he's a really good fit in Colorado because he's always going to fail in comparison 1-to-1 next to Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
If you think that the Avs are going to get Mikko Rantanen out of this, you're going to be pretty unhappy with the results.
If you thought you were getting Rantanen out of it, you'd have just kept Rantanen, right?
Yeah. If you can get if the difference between him playing in Carolina and Necas playing in Colorado means that, let's say Necas is an 80-point player and Rantanen is a 90-point player, given the relative price tags, it probably ends up a pretty good deal. And the Jack Drury thing is mostly just like, Nate,
he's a guy.
Yeah, exactly. So like if you get there, like if you can get it that close, you're good. Like you'll live with it. But again, you have to spend the remaining money well. Otherwise, you got willfully worse.
Yeah, for sure. Are a bunch of super chats to hit here, so let's run through those really quick before we get further into this conversation. Andrew S says, "Fire C-Mac tonight. This is a joke. Fire him now." I mean, I wouldn't do that, but certainly how things go this season, if it goes poorly, probably not a great look for C-Mac. If it goes great, the dude's an ultra mega genius. So
yeah.
$5 from Tyler, who says, "I hate this." I understand that feeling in the moment. There's definitely some dislike about it. $2 for Brown Bag says, "Does Mikko fit the Canes man-on-man system?" Yeah, Mikko will be very good in Carolina. I have no doubt that Mikko will do all of the things that he does best there.
Got to get him to engage on a consistent basis. You do that, and you're going to get a very special player.
The dude's top 10 in scoring in the league for a reason, even if you have frustrations with him. Like,
yeah, of course.
$10 from Kyle. "Well, where do we go now with this top line? We have no goal scorers, and this offense is ass. We should have moved on from Landeskog after missing 2 years, about to be a third. Now Moose, just a joke." So Landeskog has been on LTIR. That's not really affected them. You could say in the first year, okay, maybe it affected how they managed their cap.
For sure, the first year.
The second year, it didn't affect them at all. They knew he was gone. This year, we don't really know how much this has affected this deal from Landeskog's side of things. As far as the no goal scorers thing, Nathan MacKinnon was a 50-goal scorer last year.
Yeah.
So if you get that version of Nathan MacKinnon, you'll be fine in the goal scoring category. Also, Necas has, well, he had 28 goals a couple years ago. He's got 16 already this year. It's not like this guy is no goal scoring at all. He's not a Mikko level shooter by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not nothing.
The bigger problem you have is the same problem you have with Jonathan Duran and Casey Middlestat. Getting him to shoot. Yeah, getting him to shoot is that's your number one problem there, because when he shoots, he's a good shooter. You know, he's a 12% shooter in his career, shooting 14% this year. It's touch high, but you're talking about a he's a really, really good offensive player. But I think it's a fair point to just say that in terms of like a natural goal scorer, like Nathan McKinnon, Ross Colton, Val Nichushkin, Arturi Lehkonen, and now Martin Necas.
You don't have an elite shooter for sure.
Right. Like none of those guys are like that guy where you're like, hey, we're gonna fire it up. We know the other team knows we're about to pass this puck across the ice for a guy that can just with a one timer that is coming can still beat your goalie. That's gone. Yeah. Mikko Rantanen was that guy. He was one of the maybe 12 guys in the NHL that you felt that way about, and now he's not there. Sure. So that's
it matters. It's the reason why we don't feel good about this trade right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You're losing a really, really special offensive player. So,
Yeah. $10 from Australia Lanch, who says, to me, it looks like they must have another trade lined up. I don't think they can be happy with just this trade. They can still sign him in the offseason. Either way, it's entertaining, I guess. I mean, I guess that's technically true. They could, in theory, sign Mikko Rantanen in the offseason. I did tweet that out as a joke.
It's a fun meme.
Even if they theoretically could, it would be human nature. It's tough to go back and sign with a team that traded you. And also, you really, really have to think that Carolina is only making this deal thinking they can extend Mikko. $2 from JT, who says, Mikko going to the Dodgers per source.
Yeah.
Him and everybody else, man. The Dodgers can afford him, that's for sure. $5 from Mason says, sucks to see Moose leave. Long-term play is here. Hot take, but I think Necas is going to thrive better here compared to Rantanen. Ultimately, we'll see. Like we've talked about, it makes sense. He's a really good fit here, but you have to go out and perform at the end of the day.
I do think one of the reasons that we're talking about, I don't know how Marty Necas is going to fit in how he plays defense in Colorado, but I know how Mikko Rantanen did, and Rantanen alongside McKinnon was awful defensively.
Yep.
It was awful defensively, and we lived with it, obviously, because what they did offensively was very, very special. In the world. Yeah. So, like, let's not lose sight of that. But with Necas, if you can just get a little better engagement than what you got out of Mikko on a consistent basis, it helps, dude. But
sure,
it's going to come down to how prolific is he offensively. If he's the same way that, if he's similar to I did these numbers earlier. If you can get an 80-point player out of Martin Necas, you feel fine.
Yeah,
honestly, you feel good. That's like what you're doing this for.
Well, again, there's only so much we can talk about because, one, we don't know what's next or what else is surrounding this deal, and two, we don't have the results of the trade. Everyone wants to call a trade on day one, right? The reality is you're not going to truly know who won the trade for at least the rest of this season.
Yeah.
If not significantly longer than that. $2 from Nick, who says, I'm very slowly learning to love this trade. I don't think I'm there. I don't think I can be there without knowing what happens next as far as other potential moves. But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those. I mean, we talked about this with the Mackenzie Blackwood deal. You're wrong about this deal. You're done.
Yeah, this is a make or break it type of deal for an NHL GM. No doubt about that.
Yep.
You can't get these ones wrong and expect to keep your job. I hope they got it right.
Yeah.
$5 from Ryan that says this has high worst trade in franchise history potential. Also, look, another pass first winger to go on our pile of pass first players that can't score.
Yeah, it definitely has because again, like we just said, if you get this one wrong, yep.
Yeah.
This is the one that haunts you. If you get this one wrong. Yep.
I think most of us, if not all of us, would agree you just traded away a Hall of Fame caliber player.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe you weren't going to be able to pay him or whatever the reason is, but that doesn't change how talented the guy you just got rid of is.
Mm-hmm.
It's to get anything less than excellence back for that is a disappointment. And that's why we haven't talked as much about Martin Necas. Necas. I can't say his name like every other name that I pronounce.
I've been calling him Necas for so long that it's hard to break the habit, but it is supposed to be Necas.
Necas.
Yeah.
Okay. It'll just be another name I can't pronounce right. It'll be fine.
Martine it is.
Marty. We'll call him Marty.
Marty.
Look, you should be excited about him. You should be excited about this guy in Colorado. He should be. Imagine Arturi Lehkonen, but better offensively. That's what you want. I think he's going to add a little bit more of that. Obviously, the defensive acumen, the bar was the floor with Mikko, but he'll actually add some quality defense to you. And he does have the ability to work hard and dig out pucks and do things like that as well.
Yeah.
$2 from Justin, who says, do dislike clicks still get you paid? Engagement is engagement, but do you dislike us or do you dislike this trade?
Yeah. If you dislike us,
why are you here?
Rude.
There's at least like 4 other Avalanche podcasts right now that are live.
Rude.
So
thank you for coming to tell you don't like us. If you don't like the trade, fair enough.
Robert says Mikko had to say he wasn't signing or taking a cut.
Yeah.
I think that's a reasonable assumption that the ask price was very firm. I don't know that this was still the right decision, even if you assume that that is true.
Yeah.
So.
Eric is at the BC game right now. So that's where he is. He'll be around. He'll be in the rink tomorrow before the game, so I'm sure he'll give you some of his thoughts. And he's picking up some of them scoops right now.
Yep. Thank you for the extra 2, Justin. Yeah, we love all of y'all too, hanging out with us. Also, we're doing it. I'm not a Gen Zer, all right? We do the whole hand heart here. And then.
Oh yeah, not that nonsense finger nonsense.
Yeah, no. 2 from It's Coos, who says, okay, C-Mac, you've made the cap space. Go get 87.
Sure.
I don't see that happening, but if it does, yeah, you feel a whole lot better. Cody with the $5 and his usual boobs. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Nice.
I mean, we just to talk about it, Jack Drury. Face-off guy? Is that the extent of it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He's not very good. But
9 points in 36 games this year.
Yeah. Not very good.
Yep.
Not bad, but like he's a 4th-line center. Like in the immediate, it fills a role that they haven't had. Juuso Parssinen not gonna do that job.
Yeah.
He wins face-offs. Like that's he's helpful. It's not like this is a throw-in that's not even going to play. He should play. But we're not going to sit here and pretend like he's a
significant
part of this deal. Yeah.
For sure. 5 more from Andrew that says rip Moosecock. Yep.
I'm honestly okay with that.
That one coming to an end.
I was ready to move on.
It is a little bit weird that the Avs have built a big Finnish mafia now. That Mikko Rantanen is not part of it anymore.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when they had a bunch of Russian players and then they were like, no, we're not going to keep Farley. He can go.
Kai with $5 saying Kevin Weeks just tweeted a picture of Pittsburgh with no text. I mean, my tone on this live stream will change very quickly if that happens.
Look, when they turn around and trade one of those second-round picks for Marcus Pettersson, people are going to be pissed because of all this Crosby buildup. Pissed. But no, it's not going to be Crosby.
No,
of course, we were also saying Rantanen wasn't going to get traded, so...
Yeah, I got that one wrong.
Yeah,
five from Paul, who says, thanks for being here to talk with us through this one, boys. This one feels brutal. Yeah, for sure. And then we have a $10 super sticker with our remote thing. I don't know what the super sticker is, so I can't read it for you. I'm very sorry, but thank you for the super sticker.
Thank you for the sticker.
I don't have a camera, but it's a hippo turning his cap backwards, giving a thumbs up. There you go.
Thank you.
Sick.
This is fairly crazy. As other people have reported, this Rantanen deal may not have even been the biggest thing on the table in the last 48 hours. Obviously, the Vancouver stuff has been swirling for a little bit of a while now. I don't think things are done. I'm not saying they're going to get done tonight. I'm not even saying they're going to get done tomorrow or this week, but it sounds like there's probably a lot more to come. Not necessarily even from the Avs, but from the league. There's still a lot of hot stoves at the moment.
Yeah. Also, Ryan Callahan tweeting out that things are in motion with that picture of Pittsburgh. So great. If they make two more deals, if they make 2 deals on my Twilight movie night, we're fighting.
Hey.
I was just starting to pick sides between Team Jacob and Team Edward.
Team Jacob, bro. It's not close.
Team what?
Team Jacob. It's not close.
Brother, how can you say Team Jacob? He's so creepy and weird. And like at every turn, every time that something faced him, he got mad aggressive. Why would you be Team Jacob?
Have you seen his abs?
He also wore jorts.
This is a plus
and
for me.
I understand, I guess, know your audience. Shit.
5 from Avalanche, who says, how much did the not making more than McKinnon narrative actually play a part? Feels like the Duchesne, Ryan O'Reilly debacle again, arbitrary. I don't think that played a part at all, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe a tiny part, but the reality isn't, oh, he wanted to make more than McKinnon. The reality is, how much could the Avs afford to pay him and make it work under the cap, right?
Yeah. I don't think that they would have had a problem going above McKinnon's number. I think it was absolutely, we have Cale Makar in 2 years. We're already struggling to pay everybody. Like, we're gonna make a deal that we think makes sense for us for a player that's available in Natchez, right? Yep. Like, the hard part is finding a guy that's actually available. So
true.
AJ's in the middle of the Twilight Marathon. No spoilers.
Yeah, I do know some of the things about how it ends because I read a very, very funny book review of Breaking Dawn, which is why my girlfriend talked me into watching them, and she wanted to just start with Breaking Dawn, and I was like, what? No, I have to watch the ones before it. So really, I did this to myself.
The RML line will never play together again from Roger.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a pretty decent chance that was true anyway.
Yeah.
But just to confirm, the trade call is now officially underway. Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall to Carolina. The Avs get Natchez, Jack Drury, a 2025 second, a 2026 fourth, all from Carolina. Chicago gets a 2025 third, which is technically their own, back from Carolina, and Chicago retains 50% of Rantanen's salary. So that is the official trade.
So Natchez, Drury, 2025 second, and a 2026 fourth.
For Mikko on an expiring deal.
Cool.
So should we just go ahead and schedule the emergency pod for tomorrow? Or
I do admittedly love Carolina, just saying.
They're going
Screw this.
all in on this
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
I mean, Rantanen and Taylor Hall's good bit of work for them.
Yep. Did it all
Especially all they gave up. All they gave up was Natchez Drury, a second, a third, and a fourth.
Yeah. Didn't even give up a first.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good work from them. Tulski's a monster. Don't trade with that guy. Two teams with the reputation of don't trade with that guy just did it.
Just traded with each other.
Yeah.
Hard to feel like the Avs won this time, at least this trade alone. But.
You know, so the Kotkaniemi thing was interesting because we were trying to figure it out.
Was in the deal, yeah.
Yeah, if it was Kotkaniemi in there, it would have been like, from a money perspective, that would have really been tough.
Yeah, for sure. For a commitment that long to a middle six player, I don't know. Yeah. Now that the deal's done, we have nothing else to add. Is there anything else you want to dive into, AJ, or have we shared our thoughts here?
No, I mean, I have to go write my piece on it where it's going to be, as always, there's going to be charts and graphs and stats and stuff. And chances are they'll actually have him in the lineup before I get a chance to do like a film room. So that'll probably be my studs and duds work for this weekend.
Yep.
Yeah. I know I see everybody on Twitter going nuts about Pittsburgh, but I have the same thing with trading Rantanen, and I absolutely will not believe that's something that's in play until it happens.
Right.
So.
Those things just don't happen often enough that you can say, "Oh, well, it's happening." And even if you're having conversations about it, it often takes so much work to get those done. Look at Vancouver. JT Miller hasn't moved.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have a real problem there with two players that hate each other's guts.
Yeah. SoCal Avs fan with $5 says, if you would have told me the day after the Avs won the Stanley Cup that McKinnon ran and Landeskog would never play another game together, ... Yep. Sucks.
Yeah.
Tyler saying it's bound to happen eventually, but we got fleeced. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's winning and losing in a deal. Fleeced is like somebody really got hammered, and Marty Natchez is so good that I have a hard time feeling like the Avs are going to get fleeced because of that.
You just can't say anything. You can say how you feel about the trade. You can feel like the Avs are going to get fleeced here, but we just don't have the facts of what happens over the next 4 months.
Yeah.
$2 from Chad there. It looks like there was no super chat attached though. Yeah, I don't know. It's obviously a big trade. My initial gut reaction is it feels like the Avs are worse, and we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, it feels like they're a little bit worse. Carolina feels like they're a whole hell of a lot better, but that part of that is the fact that they got Rantanen and Taylor Hall.
Yeah, you're right. There's a whole other piece and team involved there for Carolina's side.
Yeah, I wish I could see where the Avs were in cap space right now, but unfortunately, Puckpedia doesn't work the same way.
Yeah, not quite up to date on that, but
I could probably do it really quickly here.
Do some quick math.
Yeah, just talk to yourself for a minute while I do this.
All right, I will keep talking about it. We'll see. If Rantanen can sign in Carolina, that team might be very good for a very long while. As we get $2 from Todd, thank you very much, and $2 from Ryan, who says, "I don't believe in Natchez enough to not fire everyone."
That's dramatic.
You can't fire everyone today, but if Natchez is a 20-point guy over the second half of the season in Colorado and the Avs bomb out in the first round, some heads might be on the chopping block.
They freed up $1 million.
So they have what, like $4-ish million in cap to work with?
It'll be it's 5.5.
5.5. Okay. I mean,
yeah, but when they activate Wood,
it becomes 3 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel worse about the Jack Drury portion of this since he makes 1,725.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I guess I just assumed, hey, he's not great, so he probably is only making
Yeah, so I thought
900K.
maybe it's like $1 million or whatever. I thought, but
Yeah,
175 is high for sure.
that was higher. That makes me like it just a little bit less. But
$2 from Todd that says, "What's this mean? Landy is coming back." Maybe. My gut reaction is this has nothing to do with Gabe Landeskog, but it might.
yeah, yeah. I'm curious to see. It's just such a Carolina has such a different environment. I am curious. I don't know enough about Jack Drury to like feel any kind of way. I'm much more familiar with Natchez' game, for example, so I don't have any kind of feeling about him translating in Colorado. But at that kind of money, you really want it to go better. Like
For
you
sure.
really, you're like, hey, maybe it would be better for him to be the 3C and Parker Kelly move down.
Yep.
So
We'll see. Again, there are so many pieces of this that they have to play games to figure out, let alone
yeah.
all the other moving parts. Casey, hey boys, there's a delay in video since I paused it. Hypothetically speaking, since the Blackhawks are a part of this, how would this trade look if the Avs got Seth Jones on retained salary somehow? Well, they didn't, so don't know.
And they can't now,
Yeah.
because Chicago's retention slots are all used up.
With Mikko.
Weirdly enough, their last one is now used with Rantanen.
Yep. That's it. That's all I got to say, AJ. So are we out of here?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we see a little bit. You need to see more from both of the guys you just traded for than what they gave in what they've been giving in Carolina. Yep. Although, I mean, obviously, if they get the version of Natchez that from this season, that's better.
Yep. Good enough category, perhaps.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to wrap this one up. I have no doubt we'll be doing another emergency pod sometime in the next 2 months. It could be tomorrow for all I know. It could be in 2 hours for all I know. But that's it for this one, I guess. Obviously, we'll continue talking about Mikko a bunch over the next couple of days. I'm sure AJ will have a piece. I'll probably put together a video of some kind. We'll see. Leave it at that. We appreciate the ridiculous amount of you tuning in for an emergency pod like this and all the support. You guys mean the world to us. You make us be able to do this thing. So next time the Avs make a silly trade, we'll be here again. We appreciate y'all, and we'll talk to you pregame tomorrow, I guess, hopefully.
We all silly like the mayor.